It's time to turn our attention to the defense. We will start on the line, and some of the more obvious candidates showing up in our Auto Owners Insurance game leaders. These are the Big Ten sack leaders, with Nebraska's Randy Gregory on top, junior college transfer who made an immediate impact. Noah Spence, Minnesota's Theron Cochran, and MSU's Shilique Calhoun, the next three. Speaking of Calhoun, he was named to the first team by both the coaches and the media, filled the void left by Will Golston, who left early for the NFL, Jerry.
I guess he filled the void. This one starts for me at practice. Howard, UI and Dino Foligno, one of Mark D'Antonio's assistant coaches, we're watching him practice in August, and he is flying around. I know Dino and I said this guy's going to be special. I'm not sure you agree. Did you agree?
Of course I agree.
I mean, he was practicing 100 miles an hour. Congratulations. He has had a terrific year.
The aforementioned Gregory had a huge year for Nebraska. In addition to topping the conference with those 9.5 sacks, second in tackles for loss, Hal.
Really did an outstanding job, particularly in the second half of Big Ten play. Became a force to be reckoned with. He was really a guy that you couldn't block with just your offensive lineman, just one guy. You needed to try to double team him, have a back, a tight end, but he's very aggressive at the point of attack, and it really seems like he kind of fit into what this defense was trying to do.
Rashid Hagman, the most feared player for a Minnesota defense that allowed the fifth fewest points in the Big Ten, Jerry.
If you want to know who the best defensive tackles are in the conference, you go to the coaches' all-conference voting because they study them more than anybody else. It's hard for a spectator, someone in the media, to watch defensive tackles. They're not out on the perimeter. You hardly see them play. Coaches got it right.
Well, from that group, a Smith Brown Defensive Lineman of the Year, and that winner is Michigan State's Shilique Calhoun, who joins us now from our studio in East Lansing. Shilique, congratulations on a tremendous award. Some very good D linemen in this league this year. What was your reaction when you heard that you had won?
Oh, man, I didn't know how to react. I was just shocked that I was picked, and most of all, I just wanted to thank, God and then my teammates. They helped me get to this spot. And I just want to thank them for, they kept pushing me every day to, be great.
You say you were shocked. Why?
I mean, you never expect to really win the awards. You just hope that you will. And, I was hoping and praying. And, I guess my prayers were answered. And I was happy that, I was able to have this honor.
It's interesting. When we were at camp, I remember talking a lot about, okay, they lost Will Golston. Who's going to step up? Who could be that guy? And you certainly showed some flashes last year that you could be, but were you surprised by what a great year you had and how quickly you emerged?
Oh, of course. You never think that you're going to come out and do what I did. Luckily I was fortunate to have the guys behind me pushing me, and it was some big shoes to fill, when Will left, and I wasn't trying to be him. I was trying to be myself and produce any way that I can, and luckily it planned out well for me, and the guys were around me, and they made sure that I was able to make plays. So I feel like it was a blessing, and once again, I just want to thank them and the coaches.
Well, Pat Narduzzi gets so much credit for this defense's success, and justifiably so. What makes him such a good coordinator?
I would say that he knows the game, like the back of his hand. He knows everything. He watches film like he's a player. He makes sure that we're in the right position to make plays. He knows the guys that he recruits, and he makes sure that he knows, who's going to have on the field and what's the best call versus a certain offense, and how can we make plays? How can he put his guys in the right places to make plays? And I feel like this year he's done a great job. He's been working overtime since he's been here. But I just noticed that this year how hard he works and how much he pushes us in the drive, drive for success that he has. So like I said, thank him, thank my teammates. But he's a mad scientist when he gets into, when he starts looking into offensive, schemes.
Well, the big question everyone wants to know is Ohio State, how you guys match up with them. What do you see when you look at them on film, Shilique?
I would say there's some big guys. They run their offensive scheme well, so we're going to have to try to break that down and, get into their heads, understand what they want to do on each play, and hopefully we can, better understand that so we know we're going up against, every time we line up against, one of the offensive linemen, or we have to spill a fullback or something like that. So, we're just trying to understand what they want to do. We want to act like the best defensive players is offensive players, If you know the offense well enough, then it'll make you such a successful defensive player.
The Smith Brown Defensive Lineman of the Year in the Big Ten, Shilique Calhoun of Michigan State. Congratulations on all your success, and we'll see you this weekend in Indianapolis.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
The fourth first-teamer on the line, according to the media, Ohio State's Noah Spence. His 8 sacks were second most in the conference, also finished 6th in tackles for loss, part of an OSU line that replaced all 4 of last year's starters. Now, the coaches went with Penn State's Daquan Jones as their 4th first-team D lineman. Among those getting second-team mention, Carl Davis of Iowa, Michigan's Frank Clark, Cochran of Minnesota, Tyler Scott from Northwestern, and Michael Bennett of Ohio State. Howard.
Michael Bennett, I think, is an outstanding player. Really kind of came into his own. Again, one of those players that really stepped up the second half of the season. He's been an outstanding player for him. I think he's going to continue to be so into the future.